All right, so let's talk about how we were going to do this magazine assignment and the cover. And we're going to start off in Adobe Color. Make sure that you are signed into your account. And I'd like you to change the library to your library. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus right here because I don't see that. I'm going to say my library. There we go. Now you can go to Explore, and you can either, go to Trends or Create, but I want you to have some library in mind. Here you can see some like trending color schemes that are going on. I'm gonna go ahead and just do like uh, I don't know. I'll just look up like teal color scheme, and I'm gonna go with this. So I'm gonna add this to my library. I'd also suggest maybe saving this because sometimes it doesn't always come up in your library very well. And I'll kind of use that as my foundation, these colors. Next, I'm going to go to Bing Images, and I'm going to search up my topic. So let's say that I am going to be doing mine on, let me just think of a celebrity. How about, can't think of a celebrity right now. Chris Pratt. Not sure why I came up with that, but there we go. So let's go to filters. We're going to set the image size to extra large. And I'm going to find a cover picture that I think would go well for my cover. I'm going to save the image into my pictures folder, and it would probably be a good idea to make a subfolder here called magazine or something like that. And I'm going to get a few. All right, now we're ready to start. We have our document set up here for our cover, but let's go ahead and start off in Lightroom. So we got some pictures here. Which one would be good for the cover? Let's go ahead and go with this one. And we're going to go ahead and open this with Adobe Lightroom. And let's think about our color scheme while we're pulling that up. Let me get that up here in libraries. If I go to the back arrow right there, and then I go to your library, sorry, my library. Once again, click on that back arrow, click my library. If you don't see your libraries up here, just go to Window, CC Libraries is right here. So we're in Lightroom now, and it looks like he's got some pink makeup on. Interesting. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to maybe adjust the exposure. Maybe pull the whites down, a little less highlights there. Sorry, the highlights down and pull the whites up a little, and blacks. This is feeling a little bit AI. I'm not sure what's going on with this area. I can deal with that later or just leave it. If I want to play around with the color temperature, I can. If you really want to get creative, and maybe I can come in with the purples right here and pull that saturation down, or try changing the hue so that it matches the face a little bit better. Maybe I can get that to happen, but I'm not really feeling it. Yeah, it's not really doing much. Not sure where that's coming from. Okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and look down here at detail. Try clicking on this super resolution, and it might give you a little bit better image quality. And if we want to go the full magazine thing, we could even play with this manual noise reduction and kind of get rid of some of that grain and make it look a little bit more glamour shotty. Play around with that luminance one right there. So this is our before, this is our after. Not bad. Looks a little AI, but let's go ahead and bring that into Photoshop. Next thing I'm going to do is, I don't know, I'm probably going to have to deal with this purple right here. It looks like we might have some reflections or something. So I'm going to use the eyedropper and just paint in some skin color using maybe a soft brush. And the lips also feel like got some weirdness there. A little bit more color. Okay. And then I'm going to set that to a color mode. And then I'm going to pull that opacity way down so that maybe we can get a little bit less of that weirdness. The lips feel way off right now, so I'm just going to delete that. And if I wanted to take some time to get this to look right, I could, but maybe I don't right now. It still feels way too saturated. Use the eraser now, and I'll just pull the flow down, see if I can tidy up that a little bit. I don't know. It just has some weirdness to it. It's fine. There it is before, there it is after. It's a little bit better. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and merge those layers. And I'm going to do a selection tool here and choose Cloud Select Subject. And if we look at the original file, it looks like this. We're now looking like this. I think I'm liking it. So let's go ahead and add a mask to that. And you can see there's a little green right there. If you wanted to go in, select in mask mode, pull this opacity all the way up. And it might be on onion skin, and that's fine. You can play around with object aware and pull up this radius, and it might do a little bit better job of kind of finding the edges, but you'll have to kind of be careful with it because it can definitely overdo it. And I'm actually going to maybe just shift the edge in a little bit to get rid of some of that green right there, but then the hair starts to get messed up, so I think I'm just not going to worry about that right now. It seems like it's too much work. All right, now I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to go to my libraries here, and I'm going to take this color scheme. I'm going to pick a color scheme that I think would go well with this. So let's go ahead. We already have a lot of pinks in here, so let's maybe try to neutralize them. I'm going to take this layer. I'm going to bucket fill it that color. Then I'm going to set this right click, create a clipping mask. I'm going to set this to color mode, and I'm going to pull the opacity way down to about there. I could even try maybe like an overlay, but I think I'm going to go with color. I kind of like the way that looks. The mask got a little messed up. I'm not going to worry about that right now, but let's go ahead and now select both of these layers, hit the plus, and bring this graphic in to InDesign. I'll start off by putting a rectangle behind it, and I'll go ahead and maybe pick like this neutral gray color. You want that to be the fill, so make sure that that fill is in the front, not the stroke, and then click on it. And then let's try bringing him in. And I want him to be pretty high to the top, so I'm probably going to go a little bit bigger here. This blue thing is your frame. So once you have your frame in place, say something like that, then you can click on that circle and hold down Shift when you resize it. But I'm going to do something like this. All right. Hit W to see what it looks like without the lines. And if you want to set the display performance to high quality, that'll make it look a little cleaner. Shift W looks like this. And I might decide, yeah, let's see what this looks like in other colors. Maybe I want to go with that or that or that. But I want something fairly neutral. So I think I'm actually going to stick to this. And then I'm going to go to my layers. If you don't see that, it's under Window Layers. And I'm going to lock my background rectangle. Now I'm going to come up with the title for my magazine. So let's say this is going to be, oh, I got to make up a title. I'm just going to say actor. I'm so boring, but that's all I could think of on the top of my head. You guys put me on the spot. Let's go to properties here. And I'm not going to worry too much about the fonts yet, but eventually I'm going to have my own font scheme. So let's get this size to about maybe 200. Center it with this paragraph button. Maybe go all caps with that button. If you don't see those, just click on these three dots. And then I'm just going to pull this font size down, maybe 175. Yeah, let's try 150. I actually want this to be underneath him. So I'm going to take that layer and just go a little lower. And I do want a little bit bigger font. I really want that to fill up the entire frame there. So just keep going like that. All right. Now we are going to want some room for our other text. I might have to go a little bit smaller on this guy. And you could try like pushing them off to the side and having your stuff over here if you wanted to be a little bit off balance. I'm actually going to hold down Control now and pull this down, and that's going to actually stretch out the words a little so I can get a little bit of overlap. All right. And if you don't like the way that color looks, try something else, but just make sure there's nice contrast. I'm going to go ahead and just go with that pink. That's the color scheme I chose. And then as far as fonts later on, if you want to pick different fonts, click on this button and you can find the ones that you activated on Adobe Fonts. So I'm not going to take the time to do that right now, but I can't find what I like. But anyway, I went with allotrope. So now I'm going to start doing some headings. If I hit W here, you can kind of see how everything's laid out. And those guides for the cover aren't super important. We'll use them more on the other pages, but if you want to use them, you can. Oh, on this text box right here, I'm going to go ahead and just double click on the bottom with the selection tool, and that'll just shrink it down. Let's go ahead and lock all three of those layers right now. Now I'm going to create a new text box right here, and this is going to be like a heading. So like, I don't know. I'm just going to write heading right now because I don't know what to put. And I'm going to pick that same font, which I should see if I uncheck that. It should be the last font I used. Let's make that bigger. And maybe I'll make my headings that same pink color. Maybe I'll go all caps, center them. Maybe I'll do another one over here. And you try not to go past that purple line. That's your margin for the text. So now I'm going to come in here, and for now I'm probably just going to use placeholder text. So type, fill with placeholder text. And then let's maybe go like a little bit bigger on the font size, and let's pick now maybe that light blue color. Not the same thing over here. Now I'm going to go back to this layer where the actor is. Chris Pratt is on this layer. So I'm going to go up to my window, text wrap, and I'm going to set it to this third option. And we're going to tell it to use an alpha channel and then hit this padding button up a little bit. And that's going to have the text kind of wrap around his head. You'll notice that when we do that, our title disappeared. So I may have to go up to this layer, go into my properties. With the selection tool, not the text tool, go to text frame options. And I'm going to ignore text wrap on that so that it doesn't disappear. I know that's a lot. And then you could try, you know, I would say left aligned is probably good for these. I think that probably works best. You could try right aligned if you want to see it kind of spill the other way, but I think that that's fine. And then maybe you'd want to have like some other like third type of thing right here, where maybe you go a slightly bigger font, maybe a different color. Oops. Maybe here you'd have some other information. I don't know. Like that's pretty tough to read though. So maybe I need to go with like a darker font for that. I don't know. You can always use black and white and gray. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with white here. Oops. Seems like we need a little bit more on this side now. Just using those margins, something like that. All right. So that is how I would kind of handle this. And then when you go through the rest of this document, you're going to continue to use that color scheme. And if you're finding the color scheme doesn't work, like I don't really like mine, I'm probably going to pick something else instead. And maybe I even want to get a color scheme out of the image. So let me show you how to do that. Let's go ahead and turn off all these layers. I'm just dragging the mouse over these eyeballs. I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to add, using this color theme tool, I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And you can choose different options here. I'm going to go ahead and add that to our library. So we could try this color scheme instead, which is based on the picture. So now, when I bring all this other stuff back, let's see what happens if we play around with that. So let's go ahead and lock him, choose the background, and maybe try this color right here. And then let's go ahead and lock the background. Up for the words actor, let's go ahead and maybe try this color. Let's lock that. For our headings, let's keep it to those colors. Maybe right here, we could go with that color. Maybe right here, we can go with that color. So maybe that would be like a better color scheme because it kind of fits the image more. And if that's the case, then maybe I'll just get rid of this one and say I'm going to go with that. So you can always change it up, but you definitely want it to feel like it all goes together with this image. You see at the very bottom, when I hit W, you can see there's a little gap. So I do want to fix that. I want to make sure that this image is there, touching the bottom, so it's all cut off. So that's my cover. And you will eventually need to actually write words here. So you might have to change the fonts and stuff up, but that's a good starting point.